Welcome to this week's edition of the Coaches Show. Coach, the Dragons played a tough game Friday night against the 6-0 Cedartown Bulldogs and wound up losing 42-34. I know that it's not a great thing to lose a game, but what can you take away from a good opponent such as Cedartown?
Well, I mean, it was nice to see our guys out there competing all four quarters, but I mean, all we can take from it is, you can't make mistakes and expect to win games like that, and we made a lot of mistakes, and Cedartown didn't, and they deserved to win, and, our job is to limit those mistakes, learn from them, keep playing, and get better in these next few games, but, our hats off to Cedartown. I thought they did a great job. They had a good plan, and they did not make very many mistakes in the game, and we made some critical mistakes, and so, that's basically what you take from it. You want to beat a good team, you can't make the mistakes we made, and so hopefully the next time we're in a similar situation, we can kind of fix those and move forward.
Nick Chubb had a big game Friday, but the Dragons' defense did a much better job in the second half against the running back, allowing just 91 yards to the future Georgia running back. Talk about the defense to overcome some of Chubb's big plays and to keep playing tough.
Well, I mean, we had to just keep playing. A guy like that, he's a great player. He was going to get his yards and his touchdowns, and, we got to limit him to as few as we could and as few yards we could. And I thought it was nice that the players on our team continued competing because early he basically did what he wanted to early in the game. But we did do a better job in the second half, but I think, we also, did a better job maybe of playing our assignments on defense and settling into the game. But, he's a good player. Holding him at 91 yards and a half, still not all that great. So, I mean, I guess that shows how good he is, that we're proud of that. But I thought he played great. I thought we still had a chance to win, even with as well as he ran the ball. We lost by a touchdown. We turned the ball over a couple times. We had a chance to score where we didn't. We had a chance to stop them and we didn't. And so, considering we lost by a touchdown and he had that many yards, I guess there were still chances to win even with him doing what he did. And, we got to do better next time on that.
Your offensive came into this game knowing they had to make some big plays in order to keep up. The team definitely responded with 5 touchdowns in a game. Talk a little bit about your offense's big playability and how it helped your guys stay in contention throughout the 4 quarters of the game.
Well, I do think when you play somebody as talented as Cedartown's running back, you play somebody as talented as Cedartown, it is nice to know that your offense can score points. We were able to score with them to some degree, but we still got stopped a few times in some critical downs and turned the ball over once. And, we just did some things that you can't do in a game like that and still expect to win. So, you look at the score and say, well, we scored 35, the offense played well. But the reality is, in a game like that, we might have needed that 6th touchdown, to give ourselves a chance, and we didn't get it. So I was happy with the offense's effort. Same way I was happy with the defense. I thought the defense, the offense, special teams, attitude, their effort was all great. It was positive. We got a good group of kids. But, that didn't necessarily translate to winning. So 2 good teams played, one has to lose, and on that night, it wasn't our day. They won.
A big part of playing football is making plays when the opportunity presents itself. We saw that in Kyle West on Friday night, as he had a crucial interception in the first quarter and also caught a big fake punt pass from the punter later in the game. Can you talk a little bit about Kyle's heads-up plays in the game?
Yeah, Kyle's a good player. He's a 10th grader. We're playing a lot of 10th graders. I think we started 8 10th graders on Friday. And we've got some really good seniors on this team. We've got some really good juniors on this team. But we do have a lot of sophomores as well. And so Kyle's one of those sophomores that we're counting on down the road to be one of the leaders and a player for us for the next 3 years. But Friday night, I think it's getting to the point where he's not really playing like a sophomore anymore. He's playing more like a junior, and he did, when opportunity presented itself, he made a few plays. And he'll be the first to tell you that he could have done better on some other plays. So, we get in the film, watch the film, get to practice field and fix some of the things he did, and every week he tries to improve. But, yeah, he's a good player. I mean, like a lot of them, but we're proud of him.
As I just asked you about the fake punt, with your quarterback punting the majority of the time, how often or does it run through your mind that you want to catch a special teams off guard and use him just as a pass play, lining up?
Yeah, I mean, depending on where the ball is and what the down distance is, we got a lot of fakes that we can run. I mean, and putting a punter at quarterback or making the quarterback the punter always makes that stuff a little easier. But a lot of times, most of our fake punts are check plays, meaning he can punt it or he can fake, depending on how they line up. And Friday we got a favorable matchup in one of those checks, and so we went ahead and ran the play and took advantage of it. But it definitely adds an element to the offense knowing you have the capability of doing that. Yeah.
A lot of people kept their eye on, in the Cedartown matchup, kept their eye on Chubb, but Shannon Brooks had a great game for you, posting 183 yards and finishing the game with 4 touchdowns. Talk a little bit about Brooks' ability in both running and passing game and his potential for the rest of the season.
Yeah, he's a big player. I mean, he's our version of Nick Chubb, and we love him. He's done a great job for us. He's a hard worker, does a good job at practice, does a good job at all the things that people don't see. But, Shannon's got a lot of God-given ability to run, to catch the ball, and it's our job as coaches to get out of the guy's way that's good and get him the ball and let him do something with it. So, really proud of Shannon and really looking forward to watching him in these next 4 games. And, as we try to push to get in the playoffs, he's obviously a big part of our chance to win.
The player of the week this week for Fetcher News is Dragons defender Thomas Howard, who recorded 20 tackles in the game on Friday night. With a guy like Howard on your defense, how is he the essential part of your defense holding the guys together?
Yeah, Thomas is a good player. He's a 3-year starter. And I think he's got a possibility to probably break a tackle record. It's lasted a long time here for career tackles. He makes a lot of tackles. And, I mean, he's just around the ball a lot. He makes a lot of tackles. And I thought Friday, in a game where defensively we struggled, he may have played as well as we've ever seen him play. I thought he was all over the place. He did what he's supposed to do. He did his job. And doing his job took him to the ball a lot and allowed him to make a lot of tackles. But, there's other games where he does his job and maybe doesn't make as many. But, the key component on defense is everybody understanding their assignment, doing their job. And Thomas is one of our guys that we count on a lot, and basically on defense, kind of definitely the most experienced guy we got on defense and the guy we lean on to make plays when we need it. And, going forward in these next 4 games, trying to get in the playoffs on defense, Thomas will be, one of the main cogs we'll have.
Up next for the Dragons, you have a short trip up to LJ to face the 5-1 Gilmer Bobcats. What is your expectations to see from your opponent on Friday night?
Well, we expect we're going to be a tough game. I mean, Coach Tankersley and his whole staff do an excellent job of coaching those guys and getting them prepared to play. It's very impressive what they've been able to do up there for the last 4 or 5 years. I consider Coach Tankersley a friend. And, I like him. I think he does an excellent job, and I know they'll be prepared to play. Our job is to be equally prepared to play, and I think if we do that, it'll be 2 teams that are very similar and very different at the same time. We got very different styles, but very similar probably, and hopefully well-coached, positive teams that I'm excited about now 2 years in a row, having the opportunity to play them in a game where it's very meaningful for the region standings, very meaningful at the state level, not so much always at the regional level, because big rivalry games are great and we're looking forward to it, but they're always a little more special when the teams in the rivalry, both teams, are successful teams, and it's exciting to us that Gilmer does have a good team, and that hopefully we have a good team, and that every year maybe us and Gilmer can play for something that's meaningful. Both teams come in, with no losses, 1 loss, 2 losses, something like that, and play at the end of the year. That's a big deal. And we've done that 2 years in a row now. Hopefully we can come out on top this time. They did a better job last year coming out on top. But I'm excited for it. I'm not from here, so this is the rivalry part of it. I'm learning, but I'm very excited, and I'm learning to be how important it is to communities and all that stuff. But what makes me excited is knowing how both teams will be, conduct themselves with class, playing hard, and doing the things that you're supposed to make high school football really fun and exciting.
Do you think it helps you not being a local from here, coming in to help coach your kids to be more prepared on Friday night for such a big game?
Well, it's good to have, I think, a mix of both. Maybe, we got guys on the staff that are from here that done an excellent job of kind of understanding the significance in the community of playing a team like Gilmer. And then it's nice to put it in perspective, too. The reality is it's 2 teams play, 1 has to lose, so 1 has to win. And Gilmer's got a good football team. We got a good football team. One of us is going to win on Friday, one's not. It's very special that you get to play in these games that are important to a lot of people. But at the same time, you got to move forward, win or lose, and play the next 3 games after that to try to get into the playoffs. And there's a very good possibility that Gilmer and Pickens could both be in the playoffs. I mean, that's very possible in our region. So this game will have something to do on that seeding of who plays where in the region playoff, and it's going to be really exciting. But I think whether we win or lose the game, it's important to come back and play those last 3 games, and I'm sure Coach Tank said the same thing.
You talk about how much this game's going to mean in the region standoffs. What type of response do you think your team needs to have on Friday night to pull out the big road victory?
Well, we can't turn the ball over. We can't get a lot of penalties. I play well on special teams. Anytime 2 teams that are relatively equal meet, those are the things that are going to make a difference. And I like to think us and them are very similar in probably how good of football teams we have. I think they got a good football team, and I think we got a good football team. So, whoever turns the ball over the least, or whoever gets the least amount of key penalties, or whoever gets, big play on special teams, things like that usually make the difference. We spend all this time on offense and defense at practice, but the reality is it's usually those things that make the difference. So if we can do that, and we can get our guys the ball that can do something with it, and if we can limit their chances to make big plays, then we're definitely going to win. And if we don't do those things, we're definitely not going to win. So we're obviously spending our time over the week trying to make sure those things happen, and I'm sure at Gilmer they're doing the same thing, trying to make sure they do happen bad for us. But it should be an exciting game, and should be really something that's enjoyable for our 2 communities to go see them compete.
Well, good luck, Coach, and we'll see you Friday.
Thank you.